Okay, so let's run a simulation. You're the architect of a distributed network.
Okay.
You've got packets of data moving from point A to point B. You have high-level security protocols. You have tracking software. You have, human oversight, a whole closed-loop system. And
Mhm.
yet, a packet gets corrupted. A foreign file just appears in a folder where it absolutely, definitely does not belong.
In the tech world, that's a nightmare scenario. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the kind of bug that keeps you up at night because it just defies the logic of the code you wrote.
Exactly. But we aren't talking about a server farm in Silicon Valley today. We are talking about a laundromat.
Ah.
And that corrupted packet, it's a lost sock.
It sounds so trivial when you say it like that. A lost sock is a punchline. It's a domestic mystery.
Right. We always think of the lost sock as this like low stakes annoyance. The dryer eats it, it enters the multiverse, maybe it turns into a Tupperware lid, end of story. But today, I want to reframe that completely. We're looking at a deep dive technical briefing based on the actual operations of Nicholas Gomez at Super Kleen Laundry. And what we're really talking about is a high-level logistics failure in a physical supply chain.
I love this framing because when you analyze the data that's coming out of the living lab at Super Kleen, a lost sock isn't just a missing piece of fabric, it's a bug. A bug in the source code of the business. It represents packet loss.
Yes.
And if you were trying to build a scalable, automated business, you absolutely cannot have packet loss.
So our mission today is to act as technical consultants. We are analyzing a very specific bug in the system, the mixed order anomaly. And for anyone listening who thinks, why do I care about laundry? Why, I promise you, this is not about folding clothes. This is about precision architecture versus manual grit.
It's about how you take a chaotic physical process, wet, heavy, messy, inconsistent clothes,
Mm-hmm.
and apply the kind of rigorous logic you'd see in software engineering. It's supply chain management at the absolute micro level.
We have a 4-step forensic analysis lined up for this session. We're going to break down the physics of the problem, how reputation acts as infrastructure, the efficiency audit, which, by the way, has some really smart operational pivots, and finally, the AI connection. Because, spoiler alert, you cannot have AI without pristine data.
And that's the so what of this whole discussion.
Yeah.
But we have to start with the incident report. Walk us through the crime scene.
All right, here's the scenario. Nicholas Gomez, the owner of Super Kleen, gets a ticket, a customer complaint. The client claims they received clothes that are not theirs, a foreign object in the packet.
Okay.
Now, Nicholas looks at the logs, and his immediate reaction is impossible.
Let's pause there because his confidence isn't arrogance, it's based on data. He's looking at his stack, he's got software tracking through CleanCloud, he has a strict policy of single order processing, and critically, the volume was incredibly low that day.
The source material is super specific here. It mentions they only had that one order and 2 Airbnb orders that day. The facility was practically empty. It wasn't some chaotic Saturday morning. It was a ghost town.
So in his mind, the environment was controlled. He's thinking, software plus staff presence plus low volume equals 0 probability of a mix-up. He essentially believes his code is clean.
He was literally there. He was processing the orders with his staff. He knows for a fact that they didn't mix 2 piles together because there were no other piles to even mix with. So if the process is perfect but the customer is holding a foreign item, where is the bug?
And this is where the investigation gets fascinating and honestly pretty technical. The bug isn't in the processing logic, it's in the hardware state. The sources identify the common culprit as the spinning drum issue.
I had not thought about this at all until I read the briefing. It's basically system latency.
That's a great way to put it. The foreign item didn't come from a mix-up during the current processing batch. It was inherited from a previous session. A self-serve customer, a totally different user on the network, failed to empty the machine entirely.
They left a sock or maybe a small towel behind.
And here is the physics of it, which I think people just overlook. We aren't just talking about a sock sitting at the bottom of the drum. We're talking about centrifugal force. When these commercial extractors spin, they are generating massive G-force to rip the water out of the fabric.
It's like that Gravitron ride at the carnival.
Exactly. You get plastered to the wall. Small items like a kid's sock or a face cloth, they get plastered to the very top, the ceiling of the drum, upside down. If you just open the door and look straight ahead, the machine looks empty. The cache looks clear.
So the machine wasn't empty. It had cached data from the previous user.
Precisely. And because the staff didn't perform a clear cache command, which in this case is physically spinning the drum to check the ceiling of the machine, that rogue item got integrated into the new order.
That is such a crucial distinction. The process for that specific order was perfect, but the starting state was corrupted. And this triggers what the source calls the 200% error.
I found this psychological aspect just fascinating.
It's a devastating logic loop for a customer. Imagine you open your laundry bag, you see a purple towel. You know for a fact you don't own a purple towel. Your brain doesn't just register extra item.
No.
It registers a swap.
Right, it's a logic gate. The
Yeah.
brain just goes, if I receive this item that isn't mine, then I must have lost an item that is mine.
Even if their inventory is 100% complete, even if they didn't lose a single thing, the presence of the foreign object implies a one-to-one trade in the customer's mind. It's a fallacy, but it's a powerful one.
So now you don't just have a customer saying, hey, here's your towel back.
Yeah.
You have a customer frantically searching for their favorite shirt, convinced it's gone. They are mentally auditing their entire closet. And that doubles the error magnitude immediately. You are now fighting a phantom loss. And proving a negative in a physical system is incredibly hard. You can't just run a control-F on a pile of laundry to prove a shirt isn't there.
Which brings us perfectly to the second layer of our analysis. Reputation as infrastructure. The briefing treats trust not as some soft skill, but as a literal optimization layer.
I love this concept from the Super Kleen data.
Huh.
Usually businesses think of brand trust as this, fuzzy, good-feeling metric, like, do they like us?
Yeah.
But in this model, trust is treated literally as a lubricant in the supply chain.
Because friction costs money.
Massive amounts of money. Think about the cost of friction in this lost socks scenario. If Nicholas has to spend 2 hours arguing with a customer, reviewing camera footage, checking logs, and emailing back and forth, that is a bottleneck.
It just freezes operations.
It's a denial of service attack on the owner's time. The mixed order anomaly isn't just a service failure, it's an operational drag. Every minute you spend looking for a phantom sock is a minute you're not spending optimizing the business.
So how do you patch that? The source mentions verification protocols, specifically the way-in, way-out method.
You have to check some.
Explain that for people who aren't network engineers.
So in data transmission, when you send a file from point A to point B, the computer calculates a checksum. It's basically a unique value derived from the file size and content. When it arrives, the receiving computer calculates it again. If the numbers match, the file is intact.
And here, the checksum is the poundage.
Exactly. Weigh the laundry at intake. Okay, this bag is 15.4 pounds. Weigh it again at output after folding. It's 15.4 pounds. If the numbers match, the order is complete.
It gives you a hard data point to show the customer, look, the data matches. Nothing entered, nothing left. But there's also a firewall protocol mentioned, which I found really interesting, the bad actor policy.
This is where that precision architect mindset really shows up. Most business owners are terrified of firing a customer. They think every dollar is a good dollar. But the briefing suggests that if a customer repeatedly claims missing items, despite the standard operating procedures, the SOP is being followed perfectly.
Then what?
The system must block the node.
Super Kleen will actually decline future service.
It sounds harsh, but it's about protecting the integrity of the operation. You can't have a node in your network that consistently throws false error flags. It messes up your data, it demoralizes your staff, and it just consumes your resources.
And the defense mechanism against all these disputes is transparency. Nicholas uses the SOPs as a shield.
Right. When a customer points a finger, he doesn't just say, nuh-uh. He shows them the documentation. He says, here's our algorithm, here's how we execute. It shifts the conversation from, you made a mistake, to, let's look at the system.
Yeah.
It de-escalates the emotion.
Which is a perfect segue to the efficiency audit. We need to look at the specific operational pivots that define this precision architecture, because Super Kleen didn't just stumble onto this, they engineered it.
They moved from manual grit, just working harder and hoping for the best, to actual structural changes. The first huge pivot, and probably the most painful one to implement because it feels counterintuitive, is the zero concurrency rule.
This is the shift from batch processing to linear processing. The source mentions that staff used to run 2 to 4 orders at once.
Which is just an organizational nightmare. Multitasking in a physical environment is just asking for race conditions.
Hold on, race conditions.
In computing, it's when 2 processes compete for the same resource at the same time, leading to unpredictable results. If you have 4 different piles of clothes processing simultaneously on one folding table, the chance of a variable, a sock hopping from one pile to another, just skyrockets.
So the new rule is absolute. One order, start to finish, before you even touch the next one. It's single-threaded processing.
It creates a clean room environment for each order. You finish the thread, you close the loop, you bag it, you tag it, and only then do you open the next ticket.
It probably feels slower to the staff, though, right?
It always feels slower to work linearly. It feels productive to juggle 3 things at once. But the data shows that linear processing reduces error rates to near 0. And do you know what takes the most time in a business?
Fixing mistakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rework is the enemy of speed.
And within that thread, there's the spin the drum protocol we mentioned earlier, but I want to emphasize that this is a physical SOP. It's not just like a suggestion.
It's a mandatory physical action
Mm-hmm.
before loading.
Yeah.
Spin the drum, check for previous user debris. After unloading, spin the drum again, ensure total packet delivery. It's a physical, clear cache command executed every single cycle.
I also tracked the evolution of their tools, what they call the analog to digital bridge. They started with a laundry inventory sheet.
Which was a Canva template.
A Canva template. I mean, visually appealing, sure, but as a database, not so much. Yeah.
It was manual data entry on a graphic design tool, but hey, it was a start. It was better than nothing. But then they pivoted to CleanCloud, which is a POS integration. Why is that shift so important?
Because it digitizes the state of the laundry.
Right. When you use a paper sheet, the data is stuck on that paper. If the paper gets lost or wet or torn, the data is just gone.
Mm-hmm.
With CleanCloud, the system knows which machine holds which order. You aren't relying on a piece of sticky tape on a washer. You have a digital twin of the laundromat floor.
And then the ultimate verification. Surveillance as data. The cameras everywhere. Mandate.
But not just everywhere. The source is really specific. There is a camera positioned directly over the folding table.
Yes, to record the packet assembly process.
That's the critical node. That's where the order is consolidated. By having a camera there, you have visual proof of exactly what went into that bag. It's like having a black box recorder for every single flight.
And I have to mention my favorite detail from the living document, the micro SOP. The process starts with the instruction. Get rubber gloves.
It's brilliant in its simplicity.
It sounds so basic. Why does that matter to a logistics consultant?
Because it signals a mode switch. It turns a chore into a procedure. When a staff member puts on rubber gloves, they aren't just handling someone's dirty underwear anymore. They are entering a sanitized workflow.
It's psychological.
Completely.
Yeah.
And it makes compliance visible. If you walk into the shop and see a staff member handling clothes with bare hands, you know instantly that the protocol is broken. It's a visual flag for the manager. It turns the staff member into a verifiable part of the system.
So we have all these pivots. Linear processing, physical cache clearing, digital tracking, visual logging. Why does this all matter? This brings us to the AI connection, the whole AI4L project.
This is where we look at the future. Because everyone wants to talk about AI. How can AI run my business? But nobody wants to talk about the prerequisites. You cannot layer artificial intelligence on top of chaos.
Garbage in, garbage out.
It is the oldest rule in computing. We talk about AI for laundromats, but AI is just a prediction engine. It needs clean data to make predictions. If your staff aren't spinning the drum, if they aren't using the rubber gloves, if they aren't following the zero concurrency rule, your data is corrupted.
If the machine says cycle complete, but there's still a sock stuck to the top of the drum because of G-force, the data is lying.
Correct. And if you train an AI on lying data, you get hallucinated results. Standardization is the prerequisite for automation. You can't automate a mess. The source mentions a concept called the kerf adjustment.
Yeah, that's a term from woodworking, right?
Right. In manufacturing, kerf is the width of the material that gets removed by the saw blade. It's the waste that is inevitable in the process.
The sawdust.
Exactly. In this business model, the kerf is the gap between labor cost and profit. It's the wasted time, the friction, the disputes, the refunds for lost socks. The goal of this precision architecture is to minimize that kerf.
So by tightening these SOPs, you're reducing the operational kerf. You're making the cut cleaner.
Exactly. And looking at the future implications, if you have the inventory sheet standardized and the camera feed standardized and the machine data from CleanCloud,
Yeah.
eventually AI connects those dots.
Right. Imagine an AI that watches the folding table feed.
It could verify the way-in, way-out discrepancy automatically. It could recognize a purple towel and a batch of whites and flag that foreign object before it even gets bagged.
It acts as a real-time auditor.
But that only happens if the human process is rock solid first. You can't automate what you don't understand. And Nicholas understands his process down to the rubber gloves.
That's the shift. We are moving from being a reactive operator arguing with a customer about a missing sock to being an architect.
You're building a system that makes the argument unnecessary. You aren't fighting fires, you're fireproofing the building.
It really changes how you look at a lost sock. It's not an accident, it's a symptom.
It's a lack of precision architecture. It's a signal that your physical protocols aren't matching your digital expectations.
I love that. And look, if you want to go deeper into this, if you want to see the actual living lab data and the SOPs we talked about, you need to head over to aiforlaundromats.org.
That is where the blueprints are.
And specifically, I need you to sign up for The Load. That's the Monday newsletter. It drops technical AI knowledge specifically for the laundry industry. It's not fluff. It's the kind of deep dive we just did, delivered right to your inbox.
It's the manual for the modern operator.
Exactly. Go to aiforlaundromats.org, sign up for The Load, and start treating your business like a laboratory.
And I'll leave you with this thought. Is your business running on memory, or is it running on a blueprint?
Think about it. We'll see you in the next deep dive.
See you then.